Hi sisters, I'm Marilyn Huffaker, and today we're going to be making woven Scandinavian Christmas stars. And I'm going to show you how to do it. It's really cool and it's really easy. Okay, so this is the Christmas star we're going to make that I'm going to be showing you today. It's a three-dimensional star and it's all done out of cardstock. You can do other things, and we'll talk about that at the end, about what you can use, but this is what we're going to be demonstrating. There are actually three styles. This is the one I'm going to call style number 1. The second one looks like this, and this is style number 2. It's actually the one that I started with. I did this one first. This was my very first one. And then the third one, style number 3, looks like that, which is easier than it looks. So we are going to be demonstrating this one. To make the star, you're going to need strips of cardstock. These are 1/4 inch wide and 8 inches long. So 8 inches by 1/4 inch. And for the star number 1, you will need 12 strips. The other supplies that you're going to need is going to be some basic white glue, or steal your daughter's old school glue. You could use a hot glue gun if you felt so inclined, but I didn't want to burn my fingers. The other thing that you will need is little binder clips. Those work best, but if you don't have binder clips, you can also use paper clips. They're a little bit more challenging to use, but you can use those. And my recommendation is actually the smallest size. So these are that black one's the really tiny binder clip compared to the other colored binder clips. So, card strips, glue, the clips, you'll need scissors, and you might want a pencil too. Okay, to get started, what I did was I marked a little dot on my cardstock strip that is exactly halfway down the strip. So at the 4-inch mark on my 8-inch long strip, I put a little pencil dot. That helps me. You don't have to do the pencil dot, but it really helped me when I was doing mine. And then I'm starting out with 4. I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to put a little glue dot on 2 of those pencil marks. It doesn't need to be a whole lot of glue, just a dot. And then with each one of those, I'm going to take my other one and I'm going to glue it down in a precise, very precise T. And you can let that, you got a little bit of working time with that because it is the glue, the liquid glue. So you can let that sit. If you're not sure about how to get a T shape like that, you can always grab an extra piece of cardstock and line it up to make sure that you got it in a good perpendicular, nice right angle. If you get that good at the beginning, then the rest of it will go better. Okay, you want to give those a few minutes to dry. Once they've dried down, I'm going to move one out of the way. So we're working with just one. We're going to take a couple more of our strips now, and we're going to weave this over and under, kind of like you weave a pie crust or you wove things when you were in elementary school. So this one, my horizontal one, is on the top, and so now my vertical ones are going to be on the top. And I'm going to glue them down just like that too. I want to be able to have a 1/4 inch space between each one, and each one is a 1/4 inch, so it should look very even, very parallel as you do that. So I'm going to glue those, and on each of those places where they cross, I'm going to make sure that it has a glue dot there that holds that down. And I kind of eyeballed it, but if you're concerned about it, you could measure, you could do other things. Because it's white, you've got a little bit of freedom with the glue there. If you use colored paper, it will show more. So white's a good starter. This is a good thing to do while you're like watching a movie or something, because you can sit there and watch the movie while you're waiting for your glue to dry. Okay, I'm gonna do that with both of them. So I'm gonna end up with 2 of them like that. Okay, now I've got 2 that I have over and under. See if we can get this over and under, that are glued down, and that's secure. That's glued and ready to go. So we'll get one out of the way. We're going to take this one now, and we're going to weave in the other direction so that I have 3 strips going horizontal, 3 strips going vertical. And I'm going to weave this one in there and weave another one in there. And again, at every place that they intersect, you're going to want a dot of glue. So I found it was easiest to do my center one first and put my dot of glue there and then let that dry before gluing the others. So you can kind of work it, bend it a little bit, as long as you don't fold it. And then make sure that you line them up while you've got the drying time with the glue. Line them up so that they're parallel. And once you have that done on the one, then you're going to do the same thing to your other one. So my center ones are glued, but my corner ones are not glued yet. That's what I was doing there. So now, since I've waited to do that, I'm going to come back with my dot of glue in every corner. Okay, now I've got a dot of glue in each of the 4 corners, which means every place where the strips intersect has glue, and that is glued together there. And I'm going to let that dry and get nice and secure before I work with it again. Okay, here comes the fun part now. We're going to run this like north, south, east, and west. What you're going to do is you're going to take the one on the farthest right of the north ones and the one on the farthest up on the east ones. Actually, it doesn't matter where you're going to do it, but that's where I'm going to start. And you're going to take this and we're going to do a little bit of a twist and a glue. And this is where your clips are going to come in. So what you want to do is you're going to take each one of these, and I'll show you and I'll do it and you'll know. We're going to take each one of these, we're going to lift it up, turn them towards each other, and then fold them back so the top is facing down. And we're going to glue those, get this closer maybe, we're going to glue those at a right angle like this. Okay, so what you're doing is you're taking each one of those and you're going to turn them over and at a right angle glue them together. And where you glue them together, that's where you're going to use your clip to hold it. So I'm going to put a little dot of glue right here. That was a big dot of glue. Let's not do that. And I'm going to take this, turn it, right angle it, and then I'm going to use a clip to hold that together in place. And usually I reposition my clip a couple of times because I never get it exactly the way I want it. And there. And just let it sit. Okay, while that's happening, we're going to make a quarter turn. We're going to do the same thing. Now now you're doing 2 of these because it's a 2-sided star. So you're doing the same process on each side. I'm going to hold that. I'm going to set this aside while I do the same exact thing with my other one. So they'll both be sitting like that with the clips on. Okay, this is the last one of the second side of my star. And I'm actually going to put the tinier clip on this one just to show you. I like the tinier clips because they're not as heavy as the bigger ones. But no worries, the bigger ones work. And actually the paper clips work too. And I'll show you what doing a paper clip looks like. But before that, I'm going to show you what not to do. So this is correct. This is the way it should look. You should have a straight strip that was your center strip that's still going straight. And then your side ones are the ones that have turned. This one is wrong. I still have the straight center strip on this one, but I did not glue these correctly. So instead of bringing each strip up, turning it over, and then doing the right angle, on this one, I brought each strip up and didn't turn it over and glued them there, like that, instead of turning them over to glue them like that. Instead, I brought it up and I glued it like that. This is what not to do. This here, it's now upside down. This here is what you do want to do. So this is yes, this is good. This is bad, this is no. Don't do it that way. Okay, so once they're dried, you can take the clips off. This is one that I did with paper clips instead, so you can see how those are done. So it's very doable. The advantage to paper clips is that they are lightweight, but trying to get everything to line up is sometimes a little challenging with them. But you can do it with paper clips, and then just remove them when you're done, after they've sat and they're fully dried. So now I have 2 that are identical that are both fully dried. So what we're going to do at this point, we're going to take one of them and turn it over upside down, and we're going to line them up. Get this straight for you. This would be lined up straight. We're going to take a 1/8 turn and go like that, so that each straight strip lines up with a curved point of the other one. That's what we're going for. Just like that. So that one's at a diagonal to the other one. Now we're going to glue those points where those meet. And again, we're going to clamp them. So you're going to take it and weave it in so that it's inside the point. Weave each straight one so it's inside the pointy curved one. Now you might be tempted to trim it. If you trim it, your star will be flatter. It will not be as dimensional. You might be tempted to leave it just like this with a piece sticking out. That's fine too. You can totally do that. I didn't like the piece sticking out when I did it, so I glued it so that the point and the end of the straight strip met and were in the same spot. So I'm going to glue this straight strip here. I'm going to open up my glue. You get to listen to my clock sing right now. Woohoo! There's my glue, too much glue. And I'm going to bring that all the way to the tip of that straight strip. And then I'm going to clip it again with my binder clip. And I'm going to do that all the way around the entire star. Each one of those will have a clip on it. Okay, now I've got half of them done. I'm going to turn the whole thing over because it's easier for me to work with it that way, and do the other 4. Okay, I'm going to sit and let that dry now so that that is completely dry on all of those ends, and then we can unclamp it and the star will be almost done. Okay, we're just about done. We're going to take our clamps off now. Remove them all. It's all securely down. The one thing that I'm going to do to finish this off is where the points come up, I'm going to trim off that straight strip with my scissors. This is where your scissors come in. I'm going to trim that so that that makes an actual point like that. It's a cleaner point. You can see the difference between that point and that point. That's not clean. Okay, and the star is done. You can see that it is dimensional. That's looking fat ways through it. That is star number 1. Woohoo, you did it. So the difference is star number 2 looks more complicated, but it's not really, because star number 1 was 3 strips in each direction, 3 north-south, 3 east-west. And then for the other side of it, 3 north-south, 3 east-west. Star number 2 is doing the same thing, only instead of 3, now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 going north-south, 5 going east-west. 5 north-south, 5 east-west. And then when you go to do your curves, you do 2 of them. So because you have 5, you have 2 that make the curve on each one. And I spaced them out here and here so that it would look airier. You still end up with one straight one in each direction when you go to put the 2 sides of the star together. So that's star number 2. This one I added glitter to. I don't know if you can even pick it up. Star number 3. Star number 3 is really just star number 1 with an extra loop on each end. Here's how you do star number 3. So after you complete star number 1, that's your basis for star number 3. You take 4 more strips that are the 8-inch by 1/4-inch strips of cardstock, and you cut them in half so that now you have 8 4-inch strips of cardstock. We're going to do something similar to what we did to our points, in that we're going to take the strip, we're going to turn it over on itself, and right there we're going to glue it at a right angle. So I'm going to we're going to do these individual loops at the end. They're not glued to the star yet. They're just at the end. I'm going to right angle that and clamp it just like we did when we were building our star. And we're going to do this with just these loops. And I'm going to clamp all of those into those loops, and then I'm going to let them dry. Okay, my loops have sat there and they have dried all the way. And I'm going to take my clips off. And the way to make star number 3 is you're going to take each one of these loops. You probably guessed already, didn't you? You guessed. You're going to take each one of these loops and you're going to put it on the star, and you're going to curl it the opposite way, so it's not going to continue to curl around. It's going to curl around the opposite way from the last curve. So if this one curved and is going up, we don't put this one up because that would curve it way too far. We're going to curve it that way, and you're going to glue it at that point and then clamp it to hold it like that. And we're going to do that all the way around. So this one will go here. And that becomes star number 3. So voila, you have done it. And when that's all dry and you take it off through the magic of YouTube, there's star number 3. And there you have it. So here's some ideas. Here we have a basic star number 1. Star number 1, what if you did it in a color instead of white? Now I've done it in brown. What if you took star number 1, and please excuse this one, this is a mistake, but I did this one. This is also star number 1, but it is a 1/2 inch wide strip for the center strip, and then 2 1/8 inch wide strips for the side strips. So when it was early in the making stage, the center strips would be 1/2 inch wide, and then the 2 side strips would be 1/4 inch wide. That's what I did with this one, and I thought that was brilliant. I loved that. I did a tinier intersection, the little hole right there. That's a tinier hole than what our 1/4 inch hole was. I did it all up, and then I realized that I didn't flip it. So mine's kind of a one-sided star. This is a mistake. I should have flipped it over like I did with the other stars. But there's a thought to do a 1/2 inch wide center strip and narrower side strips. This one, once again, was the number 2 star that has 5 strips going in it in each direction. And then it looks like it has a double point on each end. It's not that hard because that's the first one that I did. That was my first one. But then I did this one and I tried it this way. So instead of having the gaps and the holes, the 1/4 inch holes in between, I wove this one tightly so that there was no holes in that center. It's still the star number 2. There are 5 strips that are 1/4 inch strips going in each direction, but no holes in the middle. And when I glued my tips, I didn't have any gap there. So my white one has a gap on my tips right there, but this one does not. So there I did it in navy with a tightly woven one, and the whole thing ends up smaller because it's tighter weave. So the whole thing is smaller. Other things you can think about on how to vary it would be, what if you use colored cardstock? What if you used patterned cardstock? What if you used metallic cardstock? Or like a mylar type cardstock? Ooh, the white one would be cool. The original one that I saw, when I looked it up, used book pages, and it had letters going across it. What if you used music, old music pages, and cut your strips from that? Make sure it's junky music. Make sure it's not like treasured music that you're keeping for forever. But those are ideas, ooh, that's bright, of other things that you can do to change up your Scandinavian woven Christmas stars. Good luck, sisters. I know you can do it. And if you think you can't do it, or you had a hard time, have a cookie. Oh, yes. Yes, cookies. Cookies will make everything better.